it goes back to their truth. And I think so many of us have been taught to like stuff our truth down.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
right. And wear the mask and like everything's okay. And I think that's really prominent for women specifically, is to try and walk through life like all is okay and I'll carry it all. I'll carry, everybody else's problems, but I've got my own. And I think that there are plenty of women out there who will come to me and say, I just feel stuck. I don't know how to get myself out of this place, out of the people pleasing ways, out of not being able to set better boundaries. Again, a lot of it is the mindset and the way that they're thinking, the programming that they're bringing from their past, from society, from social media that's telling them to be a certain way, trying to get out of that. So I think that's the easiest way to explain it, is women come to me when they're feeling stuck.
Yeah.
And they want to become a better version of themselves. Whatever they're feeling inside, there's got to be more to this than what I'm currently facing right now.
Welcome to the Coachability Code podcast. This is your host, Jordan Ring. Coaches, you ready to be coached? Let's go.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to this show. Excited to have a very special guest. They're always special, but Renee is extra special. I have her on the podcast with me today. Renee, and you can tell me how to say your last name, Renee DeVore?
Renée DeVore, you got it. I mean, they used to call me Divorce, right, in middle school, but it's not. It's DeVore. You got it.
Okay. Yeah, there's always, always kids in middle school trying to change the names. Not cool. Thanks for being here today. If you want to just briefly introduce yourself, then we'll jump into some icebreaker questions and then get into the good stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Renée DeVore. I'm a soul aligned coach. I work specifically with women on building a love that lasts, that doesn't always have to do with everybody else. It usually has to do with us, you. And so that's the work that I've been doing. I do that for all kinds of women, entrepreneur, corporate leaders, stay-at-home moms. So that's what I get to do in this next chapter of my life.
Amazing. Love it. Okay, icebreaker questions first, and then we'll jump into the other ones. Favorite book, favorite movie, and one weird thing about you that not everybody knows that you're comfortable sharing.
Gosh, these are really tough. This is really bad, and I'm going to announce this publicly. I think I've only done this a couple times. I was an English teacher, and I hated reading.
Okay, nice.
So what would be my favorite book? I would say The Sidewalk Ends, Where the Sidewalk Ends. So by Shel Silverstein. Do you remember that book?
I have not. Oh, maybe I don't. Doesn't
really,
sound familiar.
It's an old book. It's like from when I was a kid. Yeah, that's the book. The other book that I would say is Tuesdays with Morrie.
That's a good one.
Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom. Yeah. My favorite movie, two of them. I'm going to give you two. I can't just stick with one. Top Gun.
That's fine. I'll allow it.
Top Gun has always been my favorite, just because, I don't know, there was something special about the military. My dad was really into the military. So that was like, that movie always brings me back to my time with my dad. And then there was this story about my life. It's called My Life, and it's with Michael Keaton. And it's between a father and a son, and they're living together, and the dad gets cancer. And you just watch kind of their relationship, which was really rocky, kind of unfold through his cancer journey. So that's a really old one too. That's like in the 90s. And then what was the last one?
One weird thing about you that not everyone knows.
Gosh, I don't know that I can answer that. I feel like I'm an open book, so everybody knows everything about me.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I like that.
I don't know that I have. I mean, there's lots of weird things I'm sure about me, but I'm pretty much an open book. So I don't know that there's anything that anybody doesn't know.
Okay, fair enough. Someone comes up to you and says, Renee, what do you do? How would you answer that?
I help women build a love that lasts.
I love it.
That's it. Right? Because, I think when we give too much, so they've talked about these 30-second elevator pitches and whatnot. I was actually on a call with Anna, and she's a part of my Entrepreneurs Club every Monday. And
love Anna so much.
Love Anna. And she gave us kind of this task of, what do you do in 5 words?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do in 5 words? And the goal of that is really to just make it short and simple, not to go on this long journey and people lose people. So I often just tell people I help women build a love that lasts. And then if they're interested, they'll keep asking more questions. Right? Well, what does that mean? And then I get an opportunity to kind of dig in a little bit further. So That's what I do. I help women build a love that lasts. I think we often think that so many of us are searching for love and validation and worth in other places. But in reality, we have to figure out what that is for ourselves first. Instead of having someone or something else fill in those gaps and holes within our being, I'm here to help you uncover your truth, really help you explore where they're the parts of you that need to be healed, and then get you to begin to see that truth as a place where you can go and begin to take action and speak it freely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's the work that I get to do.
Yeah, and I love that. And Ann and I were talking about that recently too. Just if you can have those conversations and lead very simply like that, you're inviting people to have that conversation. And some people don't want to know more, and that's fine. But when you get
Yeah.
those people that do that kind of draws them in, they say, "Hey, what's that about?" For me, I just
Yeah.
say I write books. I keep it so simple. And
Yeah.
then everyone is always like, "Wait, what?" Like
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. You're expecting the normal like developer or things
Right.
like that.
Right.
Like, no, I don't do
IT,
any of that. Like,
engineer.
yeah, yeah.
I got it all the time too. When I was a principal, people are
Hmm.
like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "I'm a principal." And they're like, first of all, when I was younger, I'd say, "Guess what I do?"
Yeah,
Right? I
guess what I
always
do.
love
Nice.
that
Yeah.
because I didn't look like their principal, right? Whatever vision people had of what their principal was, I never looked like that. So they'd be like, "You're a hairstylist, you're a cosmetologist, you're a nurse." I was never a principal. So, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation and a whole nother podcast for sure.
I kind of want to do that next time. I want to test some people because I'm like so curious what would they think that I would do. I feel like you get some
Mm,
insights there for people.
mm, yeah.
What would you say that I do? So interesting. Interesting. I like that. What are the reasons that someone comes to you? Maybe what are they struggling with, or what brings them to you?
I
Yeah.
think so many feel stuck. That's it. And there can be a variety of reasons they feel stuck. They're not able to get out of a thought pattern, right? They are stuck in their own mindset, whether it's a place of fear. They might there's like a significant tension that they're feeling. It could be in their marriage, it could be in their career, it could be in maybe they're not able to find somebody like me. I was single for so long and just felt like nobody really got me or understood me, or that I kept like spinning my wheels. So I think the main reason why women come to me is because they feel stuck.
Mm,
And it's really kind of unraveling, like, where does that come from? Really thinking about like that. I think it goes back to their truth. And I think so many of us have been taught to like stuff our truth down
yeah,
and
definitely.
right. And wear the mask and like everything's okay. And I think that's really prominent for women specifically, is to try and walk through life like all is okay and I'll carry it all. I'll carry, everybody else's problems, but I've got my own. And I think that there are plenty of women out there who will come to me and say, I just feel stuck. I don't know how to get myself out of this place, out of the people pleasing ways, out of not being able to set better boundaries. Again, a lot of it is the mindset and the way that they're thinking, the programming that they're bringing from their past, from society, from social media that's telling them to be a certain way, trying to get out of that. So I think that's the easiest way to explain it is women come to me when they're feeling stuck, right?
Yeah.
And they want to become a better version of themselves. Whatever they're feeling inside, it's like there's got to be more to this than what I'm currently facing right now.
And would you say it runs the gamut in terms of like, are there events that precipitate that kind of conversation? Is it people going on a really bad date or getting out of a
Oh,
relationship, or are there like I wonder if there's like a commonalities or if it's everything under the sun.
yeah, I think it's just historical, to be quite
Mm,
honest. I think it's a lot of the women that I've worked with. It's not one moment in time, it's repetitive actions that have happened over a period of time, whether it's, having the same conversation with their spouse and it not going anywhere, whether it's having, listening to their boss per se, keep telling them, certain things that makes them feel less than, and them not feeling like they can have those tough conversations with that person, or that there's a way out of that to some degree.
hmm.
So I think it's more historical context. I don't think that there's like a point in time where people are like, that's it. I'm going to go find a Renee, right? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they've probably been looking at my content for a while and then just decided like, I think she's the one. I think she gets it. I think she's been through the experiences and she's gotten herself out of it. And I want somebody who understands me.
Yeah. I love that last bit because when I think of what I'm trying to do and I think what other coaches are trying to do in terms of connecting with people and having someone reach out to them and say, okay, you're the perfect fit for me.
Yeah.
I think that is just like, it's such a good thing that we're trying to do because then you go into that relationship when that person says, I want you to be the person I'm seeking like
Yeah.
for coaching support. To me, then it's like, wow, everything, it's not easy, but it's easier to go through that process of working with them initially because they're already kind of convinced. And you're like, well, I'm just, in some ways, they could be lurkers. Like I may just be meeting this person that says, Jordan, you're the person for me. And yeah, that's just a general comment on how good it can be to kind of put yourself out there and put content out there and help people in that way that you may not even know you're helping.
Yeah, I'd also say I've had a couple clients come to me that I'd never seen on my content before. Like we had never exchanged, like there wasn't any commenting.
Hmm.
Um, and we'll get on a call. And this is the power of our stories, right? This is the power of sharing our stories. I am such a believer. I think because I've, come out of my career where I felt like I was very stifled, I couldn't be authentically me.
Hmm.
As a principal, you're placed up on this pedestal and you're meant to like have all the answers. And I never felt like I had all the answers. I didn't even have all the answers for myself personally, right?
Yeah.
I certainly didn't have them all professionally, but everybody put me up on this pedestal. And so there was this incredible tension I felt in that position not to show up authentically me. So now that I've been out of that for 3 years, I am like, oh, the world
Sure.
is my
Yeah.
oyster. And
Yeah, I love
I
that. I love that.
and I can just be me and I can share my story and I don't have anything to hide anymore because nobody's watching me like that. And the people who are watching me because they want to know more. They want to be,
Hmm.
they want to connect to my story. Right. So there's been women who have gotten on calls with me that we knew nothing about each other. And I had one, actually my first client, we got on this call. She's very well known
Hmm.
on LinkedIn. And we got on this call. I had no idea, I knew who she was, but I didn't know who she was. And literally 30 minutes went by and she's like, I think I need you to be my coach. And it was
Yeah.
all because of me just sharing my story. It's like she saw something within me that she wanted more of within herself. So I'll say this as, as a book writer and as a coach, we're both coaches. The power of sharing our stories goes beyond just like getting on LinkedIn and having some comments and having some engagements on a post. It is
Hmm.
about
Yeah.
humanity, right? It's about healing humanity. Is that when we open our doors and we put those stories out there that feel a little scary to us, we are creating an opportunity to heal humanity. That's it.
Yeah, and you already know I agree with that, but I feel like it's so empowering for people just to hear that, but then also go and experience that for themselves. Like, no,
Yes.
go and share your story wherever, like on LinkedIn, on
Yes.
Instagram. It doesn't even have to be social media. Just go and
Yes.
talk to someone and
Yes.
share your story, and then you have that connection. And don't sell yourself short in that. Like you have a story. It's so important. It's so valuable.
It is so
And it is.
important. Yeah. And I would just say, I think it's really scary for people to get into a DM and say, "Hey, I've been checking you out and I'm just wondering if we can get on a call. Can we just
Yeah.
get to know each other?" And you feel like you have to have like all of these questions prepared when you get into these coffee chats, but
Hmm.
if you get into the right coffee chat, and they're not all the right coffee chats, by the way. But when you
Nope.
get into the right coffee chat with the right energy, the conversation just flows and it just goes. So I would just say, like, do more of that. Get in there and start networking with people and being open. Why are you there? What do you want to know about somebody else? Just like you're doing with me today and you're doing with other coaches, right? It's so powerful. It's so powerful. So I'll stop talking now.
No, I love it. I think that's all that's all so good. So who, well, you don't have to say who exactly, but thinking of your best student or someone that you've said, wow, I loved working with this person. What made them one of your favorite people to work with? And what was it about them that kind of
Yeah.
shined?
I'm going to name her Carrie
Do
Lynn
it.
Shaw. Carrie Lynn Shaw. I mean, she has said, she's put me out there. She put me out there today on LinkedIn on her post as well. What I loved about working with Carrie Lynn is that she was so open to the
Mm,
process. she also had a little bit of this woo in her. So I'm woo, right? Like I'm spiritual. I love to talk about energy. I love to talk about the universe, creator of the light, right? I love to talk about all those things. And she came into working with me and had a little bit of understanding of that, but we were able to like walk through the journey together and really
Hmm.
explore energy, abundance, scarcity mindset, like where does fear come in, and really kind of uncovering where that might stem from. But she was just so beautiful and open. She was a great note taker. She wanted to learn so much about herself just through having conversations. It wasn't like I was throwing anything at her that she didn't already kind of know within her. She just needed somebody to kind of pry that from her a little bit and guide her. Yeah. And you know what I love even more about her is that after we finished our work together, she then kept taking it to a whole nother level. Like she started studying, some Kabbalah. She started going into, she got certified in Reiki. Like this,
Amazing.
like she just started like going in this direction. And it was just like she took that experience that we had together and just embodied it and integrated it. And that's what you want to see as a coach. You want to see any of your clients take the time that you have together. I've always known this about myself, even as a principal. I know when my job is done. I know
Mm.
when I am not capable of giving you any more and it's your time, I cut it off. That I left my career as a principal, like I left my jobs as a principal. I left my career as a principal, and I do that with my clients too. We're not meant to work together forever. And then to watch them go and integrate what they have learned while working with me and then embody that and then take it to another level, it's like beautiful, beautiful. So she's my number one so
I
far.
feel like, yeah, I mean, that has to be so satisfying. And it just makes me think part of the reason I'm doing this podcast is to just talk to people about what is it about people that make them like that? Like what makes them so coachable? Like what makes them come in and say, I'm going to eat up everything you're saying. And then, like you said, then I'm going to go to that next level. Is it something that we as coaches can, what's the word? That we as coaches can kind of help encourage? Or is it something that is just part of that person?
I think it's finding your ideal client, right?
Mhm.
And it's interesting because I've worked with all different types of people. And even through, because I work at a company as a leadership coach too. And
Mhm.
I don't get a choice of who I get to work with there,
Okay.
right? I don't get a choice. They just say, like, these are the people we want you to work with. And they're all unique. Everybody's unique. And it's interesting that we're talking about this because I actually haven't been talking much about my woo, but I think that's an important component because it really is the type of client that I love to work with is that when I work with somebody who understands energy or wants to
Mhm.
understand more about energy, about how the way they think, the way that they carry themselves is the energy that they put out into the world. And that's the energy that they receive. I love that. But I've worked with some people who are really in their heads, very concrete thinkers,
Yeah.
very practical people. And that's been a challenge for me because I'm not one of those
Mhm.
people. I'm kind of like the visionary dreamer woo. So when I get somebody practical and concrete, it's also a challenge for me because I need to actually meet them where they are. Right? I want to meet them on a practical level. I want to meet them with strategies that they can walk away with, right? Not the woo per se, but specific action items that they can go and do that will help them
Mhm.
feel like they're moving forward.
That leads into the next question. Do you have an example of someone that was in the more head thinky, like
Yeah.
concrete space that
Yeah.
you were able to help overcome? Not
Yeah.
like that you were able to sell them on the woo, but like that you were able to
Yeah, I've
help.
got a client right now, and she's very clear. She's like, I'm in my head, but
Yeah.
I've wanted to because I wanted to get more into my heart.
Mm.
And quite honestly, when I think about, I was a heart-led leader, but I spent too much time in my head because I was too focused on what everybody else was thinking of me. And I want to work with leaders like that spend a lot of time up here thinking about the what ifs, probably a little bit of imposter syndrome, wondering about what everybody else is thinking about them, the analytical mind, the practical, blah, 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 all of that. I want them to be able to drop into their hearts too, because there's a balance, right? There's a balance between, and I'm not going to go into the woo with you, but the feminine and masculine energy, which all of us carry, men and women alike, we
Mhm.
all carry a feminine and masculine energy. And it's really teaching people when to use that masculine energy and when we can tap into that feminine energy. Masculine is usually here, feminine is usually your heart.
Mhm.
Um, And so, yeah, I've got a client right now, which probably like 4 or 5 sessions in, I was like, oh, I wonder, like, what's she thinking? Is she
Yeah, yeah.
thinking I'm a good fit for her? And when she's like, hey, I just want to let you know that this is really helping me, I was like,
Like,
good.
okay, yes.
Because I
Yeah,
haven't been able to see it yet. I haven't been able to see it yet,
yeah.
but we're just a couple of sessions away from finishing our time together. And now I can see it, right? It's taken a little bit longer, but I can see that she's thinking so differently than she was when we first started. And it really, I can work with anybody. I can work with anybody, but they've got to come in with a willingness to go from wanting to go from here to there and recognizing what are my strengths and letting them know that my strengths are mindset, right? Getting probably like positive psychology, you want to name it, like positive
Hmm.
psychology, the science of well-being. I'm really behind a lot of that. And then the woo, and recognizing that there are some spiritual beliefs that I carry. I really got into Kabbalah and studying Kabbalah and recognizing that there's always certainty beyond logic. That's helped me. And that's what I do with my clients too.
When you work with people with your soul aligned coaching, helping women, you're working with your ICP. And I wonder if in the leadership coaching, if it's harder in that case to work with some people, because it's like, okay, I'm kind of forced to work here. Maybe we're not a good fit. Like, what if someone sits there and says, this isn't a good fit at all, or something like that?
I would always give them that out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what's happened at the company is that I've created enough of a reputation for myself there that people want to work with me.
Hmm.
And I can tell you right now, even like, there's a couple that I'm like, I don't know that we're the best fit. I don't know that I'm going to be able to serve and support them. Here's the other thing. I got offered this position before I even started bringing in clients for life coaching. And part of that was because of my leadership as a principal. I was a
Hmm.
principal for 16 years. And so I carried a lot of thought leadership. I know what leadership development is. I think that actually makes me a better life coach because I can help leaders, like women who are in leadership positions,
Yep.
not
Yep.
only from because everything starts from within, everything starts with us. Whether you're a leader, stay at home mom, you're about ready to get married, whatever, if you're single, everything starts with us. If we haven't figured out who we are and we haven't figured out how to lead ourselves from within, then guess what? We're not going to be able to go and lead anybody else. Our kids, right? Our partners and the people who report to us. It is more difficult and more challenging to be given people, but I also love the fact that people want to work with me because there's a
Yep.
desire, right? And so if people want to work with me and there's a desire to do that, then I'll do whatever I can. Um, I don't think that I don't think I'm the best leadership coach because it's not where I get super pumped up and excited.
Hmm.
I'm a much
It
better
makes such a
life
difference,
coach.
right? To be like, this is what I want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I love the conversations like I can have in leadership where, and we often go here is where we can talk about how they show up at work and where does that stem from in their life? Where did they learn those behaviors? Right. And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
being able to kind of go back and that's the leading from within and being able to talk about and recognize the thread of their life into their work life. Right. So
Hmm.
that's where I make it about me, right? I make it about
Yeah.
something that I enjoy doing but it's also helpful for them. I don't think that we can talk about leadership development if we're not talking about ourselves first.
No, I mean, and I totally agree with you. And that, again, that's another reason I'm wanting to have these conversations and do this podcast. And I've already talked with some wonderful people. It's because, yeah, we as coaches should be asking ourselves these questions. And where am I at with this? And am I talking to the right group of people? And maybe some of us haven't thought about that before. Before I came to LinkedIn, I don't know if I had ever heard anyone say ICP before. And to me,
Right. Me
that's like
either.
now everyone says it, and I know what it means. But
Right.
some people even probably listening to this, ICP, ideal customer profile. Have you thought about that as a coach? And if you can, like what you said about if you can, these are the people I'm meant to work with. These are who I'm supposed to work with. I feel like it just really does change everything. And I've slowly
Yeah.
done that for myself and my business and my coaching. And I know now, like when I'm doing a discovery call, it's just as much me interviewing the person as it is them because we want to make sure that fit
Yeah.
is right.
Yeah.
And always questioning that in myself as a coach. Can I help this person? Is this going to
Yeah.
be something I can do?
I've
Um,
said no. I've said no. As much as we all want money, money's not as important to me as it is about making sure that I feel like I can do this person justice or I'm the right fit for them.
yeah, no, totally agree. I've said no as well because for me, I've had situations in the past where it has not gone well, and I
Mm,
would not want to trade
mm,
the money for that.
yep,
It's not worth it
yep,
for me. I'd
yep.
rather have a good fit. I've seen, and I, it's one of those things I feel like some people hear it and they're like, no, I'll take the money. But then they have to have the bad experience themselves. So
Right,
I get it. You kind of have to go through it. I see that as
right,
well. I wouldn't have believed
right.
it as much if I hadn't gone through it. But yeah, it's vital to ask yourself those questions and
Yeah,
check yourself on that as a coach.
I'm with you. I'm with
Yep.
you.
Um, biggest lesson in the past year as a coach, if you had to boil it down. I mean, you've had tons of lessons as a principal, as all the things you're doing, but anything new recent?
It's actually happens with my leadership coaching, not as much with my life coaching because I work within a company is the balance. I think when you're working as a consultant or a contractor in within a company,
Hmm.
there's a really fine line of who you work for, right? When you're coaching, it's, when I'm having these confidential conversations with people who are coming to me with some really heartfelt stories, right? Not just leadership, but things that maybe they're even experiencing at work. It's really towing the line between what is the company's responsibility of knowing and where is that confidentiality between me and the client. And so I've had one experience where I was kind of placed in the middle. I was asked if I knew anything about this particular person that I was working with,
Hmm.
and I didn't know anything. So I reached out to the person, then we got into some conversation. We got on a phone call and I found out some information. Right. And then I went back to, and it was wrong on so many levels. But I was placed in this position from the company to see if there was anything that I knew. I went and found out,
Hmm.
had the information, went back to the company. It didn't make me feel good at all. And the person found out about it. And it honestly could have, I mean, there was a lot more to this, but it honestly
Hmm.
could have ruined all of my relationships and trust that I had already built up with people within that company. And so I think it was just really being very clear on what, especially when you're working within a company, who gets to know what and what stays confidential.
Yeah. I mean, I think that stuff is good for any coach to think about what is the confidentiality and who can I talk to about this? And that's
Yeah.
interesting. I never would have thought about the kind of being the in between in working with a company on that.
Yeah.
I mean, to me
Yeah.
that's fascinating, but also like, ooh, you need to
Tricky.
be thinking about, yeah, tricky,
Well,
very
because the
tricky.
company's paying you, right? The
Yeah,
company's
yeah,
paying you, and they're the ones who are saying, here are the people we want you to work with. And so you feel like kind of a little bit of an obligation and a service to the company, but really your work is with those particular employees within the company. So all part of the lessons, right? Thankfully,
yeah,
it wasn't too hairy, but definitely like an aha for me.
yeah, yeah. And then you notice it, you're like, okay, that's something I need to pay attention to. I've had too many of those where it's like,
Yeah.
I think to myself, I'm like, Jordan, why didn't you know this before you made the mistake? But of course, we can't
We
know
have
it.
to go. That's a
Yeah,
part of our journey, right? We have to go through these experiences in order to learn the lessons. So that's my whole life.
yeah,
That's my whole life.
yeah. Okay, so it's time to give one of your students feedback. It doesn't have to be necessarily like tough feedback, but just like something that you know that they need to hear. How do you go about that?
Oh, I'm so direct. I just throw it out there. I was like this as a principal too. I just hit it head on. But what I often say too, and I've learned is, can I give you some feedback? I always ask that question.
Just like prefacing it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I'm like, and if it's going to be hard feedback, I'm like, can I give you some tough feedback?
yeah.
And I allow them to say like if they're ready for that feedback or not. And if they're not, then I'll be like, okay, when can we circle back to this? Because I think this is important information for you to have. But usually they're like, okay, like brace themselves. But I think I don't think we do people a service by just like giving them feedback and not offering them a chance to get within their own head and heart and say, am I prepared for this right now? Am I
Hmm.
prepared for this conversation? Now, if I'm in a coaching session, I think if the flow is there, which often it is, it's like, I think the other thing about who I am as a coach is I'm an intuitive, right? So I have a
Yeah.
really like high level of intuition. And I think my clients know that coming to me. So when I come to them, it and I say something, it often is coming from an intuitive place. It's not always coming from like a in my head, this is what you should be doing. It's like, no, there's something bigger there that I want you to hear. But if I were to give feedback, let's say like from a performance perspective, like let's say one of my clients at the company came to me and she was telling me about a situation of being called out because people thought she was talking too much. Like she was spending too much time socializing. She was on her phone a lot. And she was young. She's in her mid-20s. And I was like, if people are telling you that,
It's true.
it's true.
Yeah.
And
There's a reason why
and
they're saying it.
and I
Yeah.
get like, you're like, well, if I get my work, she's like, if I get my work done, then why is it a problem? I'm like, listen, you're not hanging out in a company that understands necessarily your generation of needing to be on your devices all the time. And not everybody's like, I don't want to generalize it. But I had to be really clear with her. Like, if you're going to be on your phone, go for a walk. Take a 10-minute walk and get away from your desk so people don't see you sitting at your desk while you're supposed to be working and on your phone. Just direct feedback. Like, I have no problem giving that. People who have a tough time giving feedback have a tough time with confrontation. They feel like it's confrontation, whereas feedback is often assuming it's coming from a helpful and caring place, right? Assuming, because that's not always where feedback comes from.
No,
Assuming
unfortunately.
it's coming from a helpful and caring place, and that other person knows that you care about them. Feedback is powerful. It helps us all grow. So we should be honoring the fact that we can help somebody else grow by giving feedback.
Yeah, and I love how you preface it. I love how you ask the prefacing question, because I think that like warning shot is good for the person to be like, okay, this is what we're talking about. But then I also, and I think this is such a natural thing that coaches do that we may not even think about it, but we're there for them and supporting them after we give the feedback.
Yeah.
And I say that because I've been given feedback by leadership in the past where it's been, Jordan, this is something you're doing wrong. And then they're gone.
Boom.
And I'm like, that really broke me down.
Yeah.
You knocked me down. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if I had to get knocked down, I wouldn't even necessarily disagree with that. Your feedback was on point. Okay.
Yeah.
But where's the assistance and where's the nurturing after that?
Right.
It can't just be feedback, at least in my experience, can't just be feedback that is kicking someone down. Like if you're going to kick them down, fine, but pick them back up and be there as a support. And I think we just do that naturally as coaches because that's just who we are. But I think I have had that bad experience in the past with some leadership where it's like,
let me drop the bomb on you and then I'm going to go away now.
Yeah. And it's like, oh man, that's such a bad look at what feedback really could be, because feedback should be picking the person up. Growth should be helping them get to a point, not just saying it because you noticed it.
Yes. Yes. I have to tell people, I want you to give me critical feedback. Even like I'm working with a podcast host right now, and I was like, he keeps saying like everything's great. And I was like, is everything great? I'm really new at this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, I need for you to be critical with me. Like, give me critical feedback. And he was like, oh, don't worry, I will. I was like, okay, great. And same with my business coach. Like I used to shy away from that because I think the way I was given feedback, even growing up, like the way my dad gave me feedback, it made me cringe, right? As I got older and got into my positions, I was scared to get feedback because similar, I think, to what you were sharing, it's kind of like I was given that feedback and then nobody was there to really nurture me through that. And so I was really scared to do that as a leader, to open myself up to feedback, because that's what I carried from my childhood, right, into my leadership role. So now I'm very clear that I want even my clients, like halfway through the session, like maybe 4 sessions in, I'll be like, how are things going? Do you feel like we're on the right path? Is this something, and quite honestly, there are a lot of people out there who have a difficult time speaking their truth too, right? Even if it's not going well,
it's true.
Not completely say it. At least I tried.
Yeah, I found that to be such a key piece of coachability in general is, as coaches, as leaders, as people that are trying to grow, I do the same as you do for my clients. Like don't just expect that they're going to share it with you if something is going wrong or anything. It's being intentional about that and prefacing that and saying, I'd love to get your feedback. I want to know how you're feeling and how we're doing. It's not just like, how do you think I'm doing in helping you? It's how are you doing throughout this process? And then, if you have thoughts on things that you'd like to go differently, tell me. And
Yes.
being open to that, I think is to me, it's like a next level of coaching that I've had to learn.
Yeah.
But I've done that for most of the time that I've been a coach, is just be open to feedback, but be more than just open, be intentional about asking for it.
Yeah, I
Even if
love
it's scary, even if I'm like, I'm not sure how this is going. Cause like what you said, you have that conversation with the person that was like, I don't know what they're thinking. It's like, you don't go into a conversation. I don't really want to ask this person how it's going because maybe it's bad, but
right.
knowing that like, okay, it's my responsibility as a coach
Yeah.
to ask those tough questions. And even
Because
if it's bad,
they're
like we'll work
paying
through it.
us. They're
Yeah.
our they're our customers, and we want our customers to feel good because ultimately, when all is said and done, we want them to go and tell other people about us, right? So
Yep.
we want to serve them in the best way possible.
Yep. Totally. This is kind of like a side question, but I've been asking it for people because I know coaches are interested in this. What has been your most successful strategy, even lately, for growing your business? And maybe it's what you just said, having people talk to other people about you, but curious if there's anything that's been working for you that you'd want to share.
I, I'm kind of in a weird standstill right now. There's not a lot of business that's coming in. So I don't feel like I'm growing significantly right now.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, could be summer, could be the fact that just a month ago, 5 weeks ago, I started working with my business coach, and they gave me this insight. We can sell 5 things. It's like business, career, health and wellness, money, or relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
you're like, I was as a life coach, soul aligned coach, life coach, people aren't going to buy like wanting to know what their purpose is or like
No,
uncover
they
their
don't.
passion, right? Or even uncover their truth. They're not going to know that, but they are if, you know, if you're selling them to have better relationships,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's with their spouse or whether that's with a future partner, whether that's with their family, if you're selling that, people are going to be more apt to buy. And so I didn't know that up until like 5 weeks ago. I was like spinning my wheels on purpose. I've gone through my entire journey of life, really uncovering my purpose. Like, why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what led me into this business in the first place. I watched this video. It was like Steve Harvey's What's Your Gift? Watched it. 5 minutes later, I was like, well, if he's talking about some guy that makes fried chicken in his backyard and opened up a Popeyes, right? Opened up a Popeyes, and that's that
Yep.
guy's
Yep.
gift. And look at what happened to him. I'm like, is it that easy? I'm like, well, what's my gift? And I'm like, my gift is spreading love, light, and positive energy. I know that's my gift.
Mm-hmm.
And really wanted to help people uncover what their gift, what their purpose is. Like, why are they here? But people aren't going to buy that per se because they don't understand that. They don't understand what are the outcomes of that. So I'd say the big aha for me is a lot of what I've even talked about with you today is when we understand ourselves and how we operate and where there are gaps and holes and wounds, the more we understand that about ourselves and the more that we can walk through this life and say, I'm pretty freaking good and great and enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So many other things begin to fall into place. You begin to see the people who you've brought around you who no longer serve you, right? You
Mm-hmm.
begin to see that you can operate in a toxic work environment a little bit more easily than you were before, or you're ready to leave altogether because you're done with that. This is a really long-winded answer to that question. Me getting clear from a business perspective, right? Who I'm selling to, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
really selling to women who haven't learned to love themselves so much. They're carrying a lot of energy and a lot of people and a lot of circumstances around them that are dimming their light. And so helping people understand that once you can stand alone, all of those other things that you're worrying about or you feel stuck in will start to peel away as you get clear in what's important to you. Does that make sense?
It
Is that
makes
what the
total
answer to
sense.
that question? Okay.
Yeah. And I also wanted to say that I think everyone should go and follow you on LinkedIn or wherever else you are because of what you just said. You spread love, light, and positivity.
Mm.
There are a few people who do that better on LinkedIn. And I'm being totally honest with that. And other people have said that about your posts. They're like, I
Yeah.
love following Renee because her posts are amazing. And like
Yeah.
you're so authentic, but you also share it in such a positive, relatable way. I'm not in your target audience, some kind of woman you're going to work with for that, that's fine. I'm still going to go to your post every day and
Darn
comment.
it.
I know.
Darn it.
Yeah.
But
Especially when
I love you. I love the men who show up on my posts because
that's
women
good to
also,
know that's good. Yeah.
I really do. Like you and John Page and Andre
Hmm.
Waltz. Roger Pilot is another one who shows up frequently. And I've got another guy, Curtis Masco, who has got, I don't know, zillions of followers that started showing up recently, which I think is really cool. But those men who show up, it's like, even though that they know you know that I'm speaking to women, when you show up, you tell other women that you're here to support all of us and that you can empathize and understand from a male perspective.
No, that's good to know because I've had other people that I followed and interacted with that I know they're just for women. And sometimes I'm like, should I really be commenting on this? But yeah, like, of course, I'm just here to support. Like, they know that
But it's also
that's good.
strategy for you, Jordan, right? Because you're a
Yeah.
book writer. So it's strategies. It doesn't matter whether it's, male or female posting and who they're serving. Your goal, unless you're focused specifically on men, then you shouldn't be in my
Yeah.
profile. You shouldn't be on my post. But if you're across all genders, then you should be in my posts, not just supporting me and not just for the positivity, but because people get to see you, right? And they get to see what you do. And they're like, who's this guy that's showing up in all of these, women's comments? What do I need to know about him? And why is he so great? So I think it's great too from a business strategy as well.
And I think, yeah, if there's one takeaway, one thing that I would say about growing a coaching business or growing any business is like, don't underestimate the power of supporting other people because yes, it's a great thing to do
Yeah.
and it makes you feel good. And that's
Yeah.
why that's the main reason I like to do it. But then
Yes.
you're also getting your name out there in a very positive, encouraging way.
Yes.
That's not like, it's not just about me. I'm sharing and I'm saying, this is what I like to talk about.
Yes.
Then hopefully I'm attracting the people that would say, oh, that seemed like that was a cool comment on that. Maybe I'll check Jordan out. And if it's a great fit, then we work together. And if not, obviously totally fine as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Smart.
Yeah. All right, Renee, I appreciate you being on this show so much. If you want to just end with where people can find you or where you'd like to interact with people most, whether it's LinkedIn, website, wherever.
Yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn under Coach Renée DeVore. I'm also on Instagram. What's my Soul Growth Alchemy is my handle on Instagram. And I just started.
Oh, cool. I love that too.
I just started Substack, which I'm super excited about that too. That's Soul Growth Renee. I just started that this week, and I'm really looking forward to doing a little bit of long form writing versus the formatted short form that we need to do for the CNs on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I think I need to check out Substack. Other people are talking about it. Anna keeps nudging me like weekly. Says, Jordan, you have to get on there, buddy.
Yeah.
So I'll check you out on there once I get on there.
Yeah, let's do it. I think that there's a lot of people that are, because you can monetize it, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for you as a book writer, it makes perfect sense that you would be on something like Substack. People get to see your writing, right? They get to hear from you specifically. I haven't figured it out at all because I literally just started on Monday.
I've never even looked at it once, so I don't even know.
I'm gonna start playing around with it. I've already posted twice, two posts, but I think you should definitely check it out. So I'm gonna second Anna and say yes, you should be on Substack.
Okay, I love it. I'll put the links to all those things in the show notes. But yeah, is there anything else you want to share with us before we end?
That's it. Just wanted to say thank you. I really appreciated having this time with you today.
Sure thing. I appreciate you as well. Thanks.
Okay, talk to you later.
Are you still here listening to this podcast? You're awesome. I got 2 CTAs for you. Number 1, subscribe to this podcast for more. And number 2, have you ever thought about writing a book? Contact Jordan. He can help you out. Jordan@jmring.com.